considerably overhauled your bottom six forwards. What do you think wasn't working with the group, the incumbent group, and what do you think you might get with the newer group assembled as it is?
Well, I think Michael Granlund is a really smart player. He's kind of like, when you start looking at your lines, you look for guys that kind of connect the dots, that make plays, that make the really intelligent plays. He's a very intelligent player. He can find guys when they're open. He's a very responsible defensive player. He can play all three positions. So when you're trying to tweak a line, you're looking for a guy that has some versatility, and that's what we feel Michael brings there. So we're thrilled with the addition of Michael, I guess it is. And again, it was one sample size, but I thought they looked good the other night. So I like the way our team's playing. We like our team. We want to enhance our chances and get better, and we feel like we can.
Whether through ownership or the cap constraints, did any of those factors influence any deals you later didn't make?
Well, cap constraints certainly do. I mean, that's the world we live in right now, and it's a tough world. Nobody wants to take any money right now, so it's not easy to create space. And again, I feel like we were able to create some space and make our team better. So we're happy with the way things went. I think Dimitri gives us depth on D, gives us a player that can play on both sides. He's a heavy player. He's got a good defensive presence. He can kill penalties. So we're excited about that. And again, I think we made our team better.
Davey?
Ron, the stated objective of this franchise going into every season is to contend for a Stanley Cup. Do you feel like this roster is capable of doing that?
I think that we made our team better today. And I think there's a lot of teams that are capable of winning the cup. And yes, I'd say we're one of them. I think that the number of teams that is capable is a lot greater than it used to be with the salary cap and the way teams are constructed nowadays. I think a lot of teams load it up, and it'd be interesting to see how those teams do. There's some good teams out there for sure. We've got a proven group, we've got a hungry group, and we got a group of guys that we all think of as winners. So you gotta make the playoffs first, and right now that's our objective, and then we'll see where we go from there. But I feel good about this team.
Danny?
Ron, you now have 10 defensemen who, in theory, could be NHL defensemen for you. Was the plan to at least try to move one of them before the deadline, or was that just to give you more organizational help?
No, we did not want to. We lost Willette pretty much for the year in the minors. He was a good depth player for us. Ty Smith is hurt right now with a facial fracture, so we felt like our depth on D is somewhere that we had to enhance versus go the other way, and that's why we made a move with Dimitri and held everything else.
Jeff?
Ron, I know in years past, one of the issues in the postseason has been size and physicality or toughness. Do you feel like in some of these moves that you've added to that?
Well, certainly in the defensively, I think Dimitri, when we watch his game all year, he plays both sides. That's important. It's we felt like left shot D, if we lose one guy with Willette being out for the year, we could have been in trouble. Freeds can play over there, but we don't have another left shot. We felt like that was a need. We felt like fixing, augmenting our bottom six was important. We were able to do that. So our top six for the most part all year has been good. With Jar's back now, I like the look of our team, and to go on a run or have success, you got to have some breaks. And I felt like the last couple of games we've actually got a couple. So I like the way our team's playing, and I like to think our group's exciting.
Wes?
Ron, kind of going off of that, you've talked about the commitment made to the core three, particularly over the last summer. Do you think with the moves made that commitment has been kind of further, put together? And do you think that there's a responsibility on your part, as long as those three are around, to continue that commitment?
Well, my responsibility is to look after the organization. Right now, as you mentioned, we committed to our core there, and our mission is to win a Stanley Cup. So that hasn't changed. Cap constraints is limiting for a lot of teams. You see the moves now are so much more complex than they were 10 years ago with the 13 broker and keeping salary, and it's a complex world out there with the LTIR and how long is your guy out for, is he out till the playoffs. So it's a different world, it's very complex, and, you know, you try to do the best you can do with the constraints that we all have.
Justin?
Ron, what was the nature of or the extent of Mike's involvement through this whole process? As you guys conferred, presumably, over the last several days and weeks, did you find yourselves aligned in terms of the things you wanted to do, the routes you wanted to take, when it came to improving this team at the deadline?
Yes, and we meet with your coaches on a pretty much on a daily basis. We've had big group meetings together to talk about the possible options out there. Your coaches, they've got to be part of the process. In terms of the players, when everybody's aligned, then you feel good about things that you're doing. I think we all felt like we could add some depth on D and augment our bottom six, and that's what we did. So I think our whole group, whether it be my management staff, the scouts, and the coaches, were on the same page.
Ken?
Well, as far as some of the moves that you made over here, I was going to ask about the center
right in
anyway.
front of me.
Yeah. How do you see this going now that Nick is back in town with the center position? Granlund, Carter, who do you like kind of fulfilling the third and fourth line duties there, and how does Drew fit back into the mix, presumably whenever the paper clears, so to speak?
Yeah, I think Drew's played extremely well for us. I think you guys probably saw the goal last night, but I think he's played as good a hockey as he's played recently for us. We're excited about Drew. In terms of the centers, I think what I like to do is supply the coaches with as many centers as possible, because a lot of centers, like Michael's a great example. A guy can play all three positions, but it's hard to move guys who play wing their whole life into the middle and expect them to do the job there. So I think the addition of Nick played a lot of wing this year. Can also play the middle, can kill penalties, can take face-offs, and Michael, similarly, he's a good penalty killer. He can play on the power play, and he can also play all three positions. So it's so hard for coaches. One guy goes down, how do you change your mix? How do you change your lines? Who moves up? Who moves down? So the more options that the coaches have, the better. And I feel like now with those two guys mentioned, that they've got more options to put things together. And I think in the end, Mikhail Granlund, where did you play, the middle or the wing? I mean, that's obviously up to Sully. And there's a feeling out process and a get to know process with the coaches, with new players. Nick's a different story, obviously, because they know him, but I like the options that the coaches have.
Three more, Rob?
Ron, the trend this year was for GMs to get in the trade market earlier. He's looking back for that and Bradley. Why the decision to wait so long? And also, when did you assess that the bottom six needed changing? Why over the last week?
Well, why the last week? I mean, deals fall into place when they fall in place. Both teams want to do them. Sometimes you want to do a deal and there's nothing there, so there's nothing to do. So sometimes a patient way, the prices go down, which in certain instances I can certainly tell you they did. So there's a timing of everything. You can always, it takes a couple months when your team's together to look at areas of your team that need improvement. And once you get by that, you're trying to make trades, but it's not easy to make trades in the league right now. Certainly the deadline provides a platform for everybody to get real busy, and that's what happened. But I think until a couple weeks ago, there were very few trades the whole year, so they're not as easy to make as one would like.
Seth?
Ron, last week you indicated you didn't want to go a high-end asset for a rental. Mikhail Granlund, not a rental, he's 2 more years left on his contract. Obviously, it seems like he maybe has a role based on how he was used last night, but what are your future hopes, I guess, for him next year, beyond anything?
Well, we really like Michael. He's a guy that we actually tried to get a couple of years ago at the deadline, and I talked to 3 or 4 GMs today that said they've tried to get him the last couple of years. So he was, I think, a coveted player because of his versatility, and he's the type of guy, like I said, can play in the middle or play in the wing. So if we get to next summer and you start penciling your lineup in, you can put him in any of the 3 spots, and you're not necessarily wrong. So we like the flexibility he gives us now and moving forward.
Davey?
Ron, you mentioned how you like O'Connor. Do you have the cap space to bring him back now? And if so, do you plan to do that?
We do. Drew should be back tomorrow.